In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the quickest way to start making your first 10K a month online whilst living in Australia. If you can't tell by the accent, I currently live in Australia. I am an Australian. I live in Melbourne. And there's a lot of people that want to start making money online whilst living in Australia. I know a ton of people. I've talked to lots of people about it. But for some reason in Australia, I feel like we don't really get as much guidance and as much help as what people in the US do, for example. And look, all the information is out there in order to help you succeed. There is so much information online, but I feel like in Australia, people don't really help each other out when it comes to things that are outside of the norm. If you go down your own path and you do something online and you start posting content, for example, you're more likely to be judged in Australia than a place like the US, for example. But that's not something you can use as an excuse. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly what I do in order to make 80 to 100K a month online. I am a co-founder of a marketing agency doing consistent 80 to 100K months. And this is exactly what I do in my agency in order to help me make that amount of money and help other people do the same and scale their agencies as well. So as I mentioned earlier, I currently live in Melbourne, Australia, born and raised here. I've been living here my whole life. And just for some proof of what the agency's been doing and the results we've been getting, here are some results over the past 3 to 6 months. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So first thing, what is an SMMA? An SMMA is simply a social media marketing agency, and it is the quickest way to make your first 10K a month online. I can almost guarantee you that. And a lot of people will say, but SMMA is so saturated and everyone does it, but not everyone is good at it and not everyone knows how to actually do it right. And a prime example of this is this man right here. His name is Brez Scales. A lot of people will probably know who this guy is, but this guy has a course which people also know. And every single person now has Scales in their bio when they, say that they're going to make everyone rich online. And that doesn't mean they know how to do it right. There's probably a ton of people that have probably gone into your DMs if you're posting content. I know I probably get one of these people every single day in my DMs and they don't know how to do it right. But because they're like a fucking herd of sheep and every single person tries to do it and there's so many people out there trying to reach out, that's why so many people think that this business model is saturated, when in reality, it's not. And now that's exactly why the ones who do know how to do it properly will always end out on top. So what are the first steps you need to take with your SMMA, and how can you start making 10K a month online as soon as possible? Well, let's get started with that. First thing, very first thing that you need to do when starting an agency is to pick a niche. And when I say starting an agency, you don't really even need to actually start an agency. You can just be a freelancer. Like you can just run your own thing, have your own clients, provide the services. You don't need a massive team. And if you're only making 10K a month online as well, like honestly, that's probably 4 to 5 clients, depending on what you charge, which you can definitely manage yourself. So first thing, pick a niche, make sure it's a high ticket niche so that the niche you're actually targeting charges a high ticket service and the fulfillment that you're providing to this niche is easy and repeatable, meaning it's evergreen. Evergreen fulfillment is simply just the same thing you can repeat from client to client, so you don't have to tailor a specific service for every single person. It just becomes a little bit of a headache. So for example, a high ticket niche would be kitchen and bathroom remodeling. Remodelers charge anywhere from 10K probably on average to 30K. So it's a very high ticket niche. And these types of people will be able to afford your services, which is why we want to target a niche like that. So very straightforward, pick a niche. If you don't know what niche to pick, there's lots of different niches you can choose from. You can even go into ChatGPT and search up high ticket niches. I'm sure it's going to give you a lot of different options. Next thing for this niche, we need to have a desirable offer. A desirable offer consists of 4 main things. The first thing is the niche, as we mentioned above. The second thing is the result that we're going to be providing for this niche. The third thing is the time frame, so how quickly we can actually get this result. And the last thing is a risk reversal, which just helps reduce the risk on the client's end. So let me give you an example of each. First thing is kitchen and bathroom remodelers above 25K per month. Now with the niche, we always want to do some sort of revenue call out, because if this kitchen and bathroom remodeler is just a startup and they're only making 3K a month doing really small jobs, they're not really qualified for the service. Next thing, result, something like 5 new jobs is perfect because that is desirable to kitchen and bathroom remodelers. They want more jobs, and if you can guarantee that, that's awesome. Next thing with time frame, 30 days is perfect. If you do anything more, that's okay, but I'd recommend 90 days max. If you do 30 days, people know that they're going to be seeing results quick, which is exactly what they want. And the last part of the offer, which is the risk reversal, could be something like or you don't pay. This is definitely the strongest risk reversal because pretty much they get a refund if you don't get them the result. So for example, the kitchen and bathroom remodeler doesn't get 5 new jobs, they would receive a refund because you didn't fulfill your promise. Now we put all of this together and we're going to offer something along the lines of this. Kitchen and bathroom remodelers above 25K per month, we will guarantee you 5 new jobs in 30 days or you don't pay. Now this is a very strong offer because first thing we're doing is we're calling out the niche, but also how much this niche needs to be making. So pretty much just qualifying people from the get-go, and then offering a desirable result for that type of niche with minimal risk, because if they don't get the result, then they get a refund. Very strong and desirable offer. Okay, so we have our offer, but now we need to actually acquire clients. So how are we gonna do this? And I've listed a couple of different ways, both free ways to get leads and also paid ways to get lead. Now, I've got a couple of different ways here. The first things we're gonna go through are free ways to get leads, and then the second thing is gonna be paid ways that we can get leads. First thing, which is free, scraping leads off of Google Maps. Now, this is a great way to get leads and offer your solution to their problem. So going back to the niche from earlier, bathroom remodelers, kitchen and bathroom remodelers, whatever, just search it up inside of Google Maps. It'll give you a lot of different options of kitchen and bathroom remodelers near you and in your area. And you're just gonna be able to see their websites, you're gonna have their phone number, and it's just an easy chance for you to pitch your service and they might buy, right? It's a good chance for you to get your cold calling skills up, and also a chance for you to actually convert those leads to book calls and pitch your services further on those meetings. Definitely recommend this. Now, because this service is online, these businesses don't even need to be in your area. Like, if you can meet up with them in person, that would be like awesome, because it's gonna be easier for you to do so. But I'm assuming the majority of you guys want to keep all your services online. That's the whole reason why we're doing this. So you don't need to do businesses just in your area. You can expand because you are doing it online. So scraping leads off Google Maps, 100% I recommend this. Second thing, Instagram suggested accounts. Now this is also really good. I'll show you an example of what I mean by using Instagram suggested accounts in order to actually get clients. So first thing you want to do is find someone in your niche. So let's say, for example, you're targeting high ticket coaches and agency owners. Someone that would be really good would be Serge Guattari. Now, would this guy respond to your DM? Probably not, but he would be a good starting point, because then you can build off it and find those suggested accounts. So first thing you need to do, follow this account. And then as you'll see, when you follow the account, a bunch of accounts will come up under suggested for you. Now in the suggested for you section, there's gonna be a bunch of other accounts that are in a similar niche, which you can also reach out to, which is what I mean right here. For example, John Hollins, this could be someone that's in the same niche as Serge Guattari, high ticket coaches and agency owners, and you can then DM him and then go through and follow the process step by step. So it's really repeatable. For example, you go into John Hollins, you follow him, you send him a DM, and then once you followed him, more accounts will come up under suggested for you, and you have a lot more accounts you can reach out to again. So repeatable. And what I recommend with both the leads of Google Maps and the Instagram suggested accounts, try and aim for 50 to 100 calls/DMs a day. So for example, let's say you set the goal of doing 80 a day, try and get 40 calls in off the Google Maps, the leads from Google Maps, and then try and get 40 messages sent on Instagram. Definitely the quickest and easiest way to start getting clients with free leads, right? Utilize Google Maps, utilize suggested accounts, that will definitely help you out. But definitely the best way to start landing clients, if you're trying to make your first 10K a month online in Australia, would have to be paid ads. Paid ads, you simply pay for a lead and you get money back. Paid ads, you simply put $1 into ads and you get $5 back. It's as simple as that. Obviously, if you do it right. Now, in regards to paid ads, I could talk about this all day, because this is exactly how I get clients for my own agency. But these other two videos in particular will be able to help you out. And this is exactly how my closes calendar looks like this, completely booked out every single day with 8 to 10 qualified sales calls. So after this video, I would recommend that you watch one of these two videos here that will help you out tremendously with how to start and run paid ads for your own business. But with paid ads, I'll give you a quick rundown. Best platform for paid ads, I use Meta, so ads on Facebook and Instagram. Now, the minimum budget for running ads to actually see tangible results, $30 to $50 a day. If you have the budget, definitely start running ads ASAP. 5 videos, 2 images, gives you enough for testing. Now, the campaign we run is CBO, which stands for Campaign Budget Optimization. What this means is that Meta will distribute ad spend to the best performing ads. So for example, we're running 7 ads, 5 videos and 2 images, but one of the videos and one of the images might receive 80% of the spend. That's because Meta's algorithm has worked out that those 2 ads in particular are the best performers. So because we're optimizing for overall best performance, we're gonna put most of the ad spend into those 2 ads. Meta does a really good job at working this out. Next thing, we do 2 different ad sets, hyper niche, interest, and broad. Broad is just Meta putting the ads in front of the people that it thinks would be best suited for, dependent on the messaging and the scripting in the ad itself. For example, going back to the offer from earlier, kitchen and bathroom remodelers above 25K per month, because we have that specific call out in the first 3 seconds of the ad, Meta naturally tries to find that type of person based upon the scripting. And it actually does a really good job of doing this. To be honest, I think broad actually outperforms hyper niche interest on majority of campaigns I run. That's why you have to make sure that the scripting in your ad is extremely direct on what kind of person you want to target and what kind of result you want to get for this type of person. Next thing, hyper niche interest. What this means is just the interests of the niche. Again, going back to earlier, kitchen and bathroom remodelers, their interests might be bathroom remodeling, construction, different interests like that. I recommend doing 3 to 5, and then Meta will simply push the ads in front of people that have those specific interests which you've entered in. So that's just a brief outline on paid ads. If you want to learn more, definitely watch these 2 videos before, as I mentioned. So that's how you're gonna get your leads. Now, to actually convert these leads, you need to book them in. So I recommend trying to convert at least 3 of those leads to bookings per day, which means 1 from each channel, so outbound and inbound. So when starting out, try and convert a lead to a booking through Google Maps, scraping those leads from Google Maps. Try and get someone to book in through the Instagram suggested accounts, and then try and get a lead to book in through paid ads. Now, the main KPI that we're gonna aim for is show rate. So we have 3 calls booked, but we're gonna try and make sure that at least 2 of these calls show up, which is around a 60% show rate. Email and SMS reminders need to be on. So with the reminders, I recommend doing a 24-hour reminder, a 1-hour reminder, and a 5-minute reminder for both email and SMS. And to even take it a step further, call the prospect on the morning of the meeting for final confirmation. If you get the prospect to confirm on the morning of the meeting, that will skyrocket show rate more than what anything can. So you'll have their phone number, call them up, make sure they're confirmed, and you'll be good to go. And now with close rate, industry average is around 25%. That's what people like to aim for. I'm gonna go on the lower end and say just aim for a 20% close rate. So 1 in 5 people that show up to the meetings, just try and close 1 of them. And with all these numbers I just ran through, that will lead to 2 clients a week, which is exactly how you're gonna start making 5 to 10K a month online. Simply charge anywhere from 2.5K to 5K a month for your services, and you're gonna be making minimum 5 to 10K a month online. Now let's dive a bit deeper into the sales process, because we're gonna be getting calls on the calendar, but I don't know how good you guys are at closing, but this is definitely an important part of the process. First thing with the sales process is you want to try and pre-handle as many objections as possible. Now, what I mean by this is that whenever you pitch the price at the end of the sales call, they're going to have some sort of objection. But how can we minimize objections and pre-handle them? Let's give a good example of this. One of the objections that people might give you is the fact that they need to speak to their partner, their business partner, their wife, their husband, etc. But you can handle this objection before you actually take the call. What I recommend, give them a call over the phone, confirm that they're the sole decision maker and that they're the only person there that needs to actually make the decision. And if there is someone else that needs to help them make a decision, they need to also be on the call as well. That's just one of many ways to pre-handle objections. Next thing, discovery. Now, in the discovery process, this is going to be about the first probably 20 minutes of the call. You need to be asking the questions only. If the prospect has asked you any questions in the discovery, you're not doing it right. Discovery is simply you getting as much information about this person as possible, where they're currently at, where they want to be, because then in the pitch, you're going to show them how you can get them from where they are now to where they want to be through your services. And now the pitch. And in the pitch, you want to use something called your unique advantage. Everyone online is the exact same nowadays, so how can you actually be different from your competitors? You need to find something about your services which are different from competitors, the way that you do things and you run your agency. How is that different from your competition? Now, you need to utilize this as much as possible in your pitch. Because the truth is that a lot of these kitchen and bathroom remodelers, as an example again, have probably worked with previous agencies, have had ads run before, and maybe it hasn't worked. So first of all, if they have already tried things in the past, work out what they've tried, work out the things that didn't work, and why they didn't work. You can explain that to them, and ultimately why the way that you do your services and run your own agency is exponentially better than the way that they did. Next thing is to ensure the prospect is the right fit. Now, in the beginning, if you're not booking many calls, you can probably keep most of the calls on the calendar, but as your calendar consistently gets more and more booked, you're gonna make sure that these prospects are actually qualified for your services and you're not just wasting your time. So if you only wanna work with people that are making above 20K per month, you need to make sure before the call that they are making above 20K per month, because otherwise they're not gonna be able to afford your services and simply you are just wasting your time. Next thing is to make sure the prospect is sold on your offer and your services. So do they actually believe in what you do? So for example, on the call, you would simply say something like, do you feel as though what I've just told you about our services and how we actually run our agency, do you feel as though our services will actually help you get to where you wanna be? If they say no, ask why, then you can give them some reassurance. If they say yes, perfect, proceed to the next steps, which is the price drop. With the price drop, there's a lot of different methods that people recommend using. I mean, I recommend that you do stay silent because it is best to hear from the prospect. You've just dropped the price. Now it's on the prospect to give their thoughts and give their opinions on what they want to do moving forward. So just best thing to do, keep it cool, drop the price, see what they have to say, then you can go ahead with the objection handling. Once you've handled the objection, simply go ahead and receive the payment on the sales call, not once you get off it, because they might not actually buy it. Make sure that money hits your account whilst you are on the call. That part is extremely important. So you've received the payment, awesome. Now from here, we need to onboard this client as they've just moved forward. Now there's a lot of different ways that you can onboard clients. There's tons of different ways that people do it, but this is exactly what I do and I feel as though is a really smooth way to onboard a client. First thing is to have the client fill out some sort of onboarding form. Now in this onboarding form, they should be answering some simple questions and also just providing you with assets that you need. For example, if you need their calendar or their logo, they can enter 2 of those things in. Then once they've filled out the form, get on a meeting to discuss the next steps. Now on this meeting that I have, I get access to the client's Facebook assets because that's exactly what I need to have. And it's just easier if I do it on a meeting because sometimes clients can struggle with giving me access. So I use Leadsy. Simply, I just send over the Leadsy link on the call. They fill out their ad account and their Facebook page and they just give me access to it. And if they have any problems, I can help them out straight away because we're in a meeting together. It makes the process a hell of a lot smoother. Now, next thing is to set up clients on Go High Level. Now, if you don't know what Go High Level is, it's a CRM. We use it for building funnels, so sales funnels where people can actually book in through paid ads. Also to manage leads, build out automations. Go High Level is really, really good and it's a CRM I definitely recommend. So we've set everything up in the onboarding, but now we need to actually get this client results. And here's just a couple of the results that I've gotten for my clients recently. Now, to get clients results, what we're gonna do is we're gonna run a lead generation campaign, which means that we're optimizing for the result of Facebook leads. And depending what result you're getting for this client, with my clients, I make them run it at least $50 per day because that's gonna help me get them the tangible results which they're looking for. And then going back to what I mentioned earlier, 5 video ads and 2 image ads is what I recommend doing. It gives you enough to test and it really brings out the best results. So let's start with videos. With videos, I recommend testing 5 unique hooks and angles and 1 body on each ad. Ultimately, every single ad will have the same body, but we're testing 5 different hooks so we can work out what the winning hooks are and optimize more for those. And that will look something along the lines of this. You'll have the page at the top and then you'll have the video ad, learn more, and then once someone clicks on learn more, they're able to go through the funnel and book in a call. Now with images, I recommend you use Ads Library. This will give you a lot of help. And then to build out the actual images, you can use viral templates of Canva. So for example, you go into Ads Library, you search up your niche, and what this is gonna do is give you a bunch of different ads that are running in the same industry, which is gonna give you a lot of help with what to run. Like there will literally be tons of ads that you can look at on Ads Library, and usually the ones that have been running for the longest, there's a reason why they've been running that long is because they're the best performers. So you set up the ads, now we need to launch the ad campaign. And what we're doing is we're funneling all of the traffic through these ads to a 3-step funnel. So the funnel will look something along the lines of this. This is what the landing page will look like. You'll have the logo at the top, then you'll have the niche, then you'll have the offer. So we've got the niche, we've got the results, we've got the time frame, and then we've got the risk reversal. And then you'll also have the VSL, which is the video sales letter, which is the video that goes on the landing page, explaining further about what they do, how they can help their clients, and it nurtures their leads. Then you have the schedule a call here button. That's where they're pressing that button. They get redirected to the booking page where they're able to book in a call. Now inside the Go High Level as well, you need to set up an automation for the client to be notified about leads in the CRM. Because when leads come in, these clients need to be calling them up ideally within 5 minutes, because the quicker you call up the leads, the better chance you have of converting them from a lead to an actual booked call. Next step after that, build out a pipeline and Go High Level for the client to manage all the leads. This part's really important because lots of leads are going to come in, but we need to make sure these leads are managed correctly so we're utilizing each lead to its maximum capability. So this is what the pipeline is going to look like, something along the lines of this. And I recommend doing 7 different stages. So you have new lead, that's when the lead actually comes in. Every single lead that comes in through the campaign will be under new lead. If you call the lead and they don't answer, you move them over to no answer. So simply you just click it and drag it across. If you book them in for a meeting, you just move them over to meeting scheduled. If you have that sales call and it results in a follow-up sales call, move them over to follow-up. If they no-show the sales call, you move them over to no-show. And also have different ones like closed. So if you actually collect cash from the client and you close them, you move them over to closed. And if they're simply just not interested, I also have a section where it just says not interested. All the leads that aren't interested, you move them over to there. So that's a brief outline of what the fulfillment looks like. Now, retaining clients. This is extremely important because you don't want to start from complete scratch every single month. You want to make sure you can retain as many of your clients as possible so they continue to pay you month in and month out. So this is exactly what I do to ensure that I retain as many clients as possible. The first thing is weekly meetings. Simply the weekly meetings, we go over a few different things. The first thing we do is we track metrics to ensure that all the numbers are within KPI. So for example, the cost per book call, show rate, close rate, are these numbers within KPI to ensure that we can succeed? If one of them isn't, for the next 7 days, we focus on that KPI in particular in order to get it back into those numbers. If one of those metrics is outside of that KPI, for the next 7 days, we'll focus on that metric in particular to ensure that we get that metric back inside of the KPI numbers. So as I mentioned, are the numbers inside the KPI? If yes, perfect. If not, we focus on those and we build out a roadmap for the next 7 days, focusing specifically on that metric. Now, this may seem pretty obvious, but some people don't understand this part, is that the clients need to be making more than they pay you. If you're charging 2.5K a month, and a client is making only 2K from your services, they're simply gonna just stop paying you because they're losing money. So simply retaining clients equals scale. So this is it. This is literally the exact system that I use and I would start using if I was a beginner to make my first 10K a month online whilst living in Australia. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to get more guidance on actually how to start your own agency, run paid ads for clients, and just do social media marketing, I've got a free one-on-one consultation call link in the description. Simply just book in for whatever time suits you. I'm gonna give you a ton of free value in order to actually help you start and succeed. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one.